It'll be Ravello, Gorman, and Dean for St. Louis. Bacus last year at AAA. 47 appearances.
I think the goal in spring training is for a pitcher like this is for him to understand that I may be a name you don't know, but I want to become a name you do know.
Absolutely. And it takes one outing.
Right.
To catch the eye of that pitching coach or manager. That's why I love this.
Yes, I agree. I mentioned it earlier. It's a combination of older guys that are established and are going to be here no matter what, with some older guys that are trying to hang on and get one last job, and the young guys that have their future ahead of them. I mean, it's a kind of an odd mix in terms of who has the most stress on them. But you really want to develop the sense of team. I thought Mike Schilt's comment about Alex Reyes not only wants to pitch well for himself, but he wants to be a part of the mix for his teammates.
Ravello has his second infield hit. 2 for 2 today. The man can hit, and he will be a factor at some point this season for the Cardinals.
Do you feel like, in a way, Dan, he's almost the Jose Martinez replacement?
I think that's it exactly. Can play first base, outfield. Jose, they tried him at first. He was an outfielder, now with Tampa Bay. But will give you a quality major league pinch hitting appearance, and that's what you're looking for. And the 0-1 pitch now to Nolan Gorman. We just had a young couple come in with their 4-month-old baby named Branch, named after, and they told us, Branch Rickey.
How about that?
Well, Branch Rickey started the minor league system, and up to this point there had never been a quote-unquote female coach, and the Cardinals now have a female coach as a part of the organization, if you haven't heard that news. And it's a 2-time All-American softball player at South Carolina. And her name is Tina Whitlock. And it's an interesting program that the Cardinals have. Mike Schilt actually was part of this. She'll be in the minor leagues. It's the 4th coach program. And what happens is the coach, and in this case Tina, will be in uniform and might be working with hitters one day before a game, or hitting fungos, working on the grounders, the outfielders, whatever the case may be. But then going into the stands and out of uniform and sitting with the scouts. So then, you're trying to figure out what you want to do. What's your line, your path in this industry? Is it more in the front office? Is it a scout? You're learning from great coaches in the system. And it's a kind of a mentorship program that the Cardinals have, for lack of a better term. And Tina will be a part of it. And Mike Schilt actually did that at one point in his Cardinals careers. Gorman hits it on the ground out there, back to first, and it is not a double play. But how about that? I think it's very cool.
Well, I think it's a great idea, and there's some novelty to it, because you could talk to a whole bunch of scouts and they'd say, boy, I'd like to be in uniform one time, to be down there on the field to really get a feel for what guys are like.
Sure.
And what they're all about. And the scout, Dan, is always asking questions of people. What's this guy? What's his work ethic like? You're living with him. We see what we see at the ballpark as scouts, and they are a special breed of talented people. But you'd say the other way around. Sometimes for a coach to be able to get back and step back and watch a game in its entirety, and not be so kind of wedded to your view of the game, but to have a bigger view of the game. I think it could be very productive.
Mike's path to the big leagues was unique too, in the fact that he wanted to get in uniform, and he figured that out. But remember, at that time, he was kind of saying, well, I still, though, like doing camps and instructional type things with coaches and kids across the country. And took a long time to get to this level, and he's so well respected. Mike Schilt, the manager of the year in the National League, and his association, as we all talk about, with George Kissel and Mark DeJean and others across the board here in this Cardinals family.
Which ties back to Branch Rickey, who
bet.
hired George Kissel.
Right.
So here's
incredible.
Here's what George would do in the minor leagues. And back when George was somebody we were afraid of. I mean, it's like when George was in town, you knew somebody was doing something wrong. He was the minor league director. But when George would come to the first game or two of the series, he would be in the ballpark and he would hide behind a pole and watch the game because he didn't want us to know he was there.
I love that.
So occasionally somebody would say, "Hey, Kissel's here." Kissel's here. And it's like, where is he? He's like, behind that pole. And so he didn't want to be known at first until he had his chance to have an audience with you.
Out at second, the turn, and that one is in time. So Dean grounds into the double play.